Hi, welcome back to Wheels and Wags with Kaz. Another week's passed, another lot of exciting things that we've gotten up to, especially this week, busy week, which is great. We love those ones. So I left you at Pakenham and we were leaving the next day. We drove not very far, only took about 45 minutes down towards Phillip Island, which was the next place we wanted to explore. We found a roadside park just off the island that we managed just to get into. So we stayed there for a couple of nights while we explored. We headed down the next day, a very wet day the next day actually. So just a quick look around, checked out a couple of places, and then it was full go for the next day. So we headed down. Here's the list, there's a lot. We headed out to Nobly's boardwalk right at the end of the peninsula of the island to have a look out there. So there's a lot of nesting boxes and things where the penguins hide. We didn't see any, but on the way out there were so many barren geese everywhere. We kept seeing signs about watch birds on road, so we assumed it was the geese, but they weren't on the road, and they seemed to be in pairs, but just off the road or wandering nearby. Good population of them down there, that's for sure. They are pretty big. They are a goose, so they're very unusual. They've got a bright yellow beak and red legs and black hairy feet. It's very odd. So the signs that were on the road saying beware of birds was in relation to the shearwaters, or the mutton birds they're called. So it's time for them to migrate. Apparently in September they come back 15,000 k's from Alaska to mate and breed and whatever. But April, May is the time where the adults head off, and then the younger ones are attempting it as well as fledglings. So there's a lot of them that are not very good flyers at the moment. We saw quite a few people moving them off the road as we headed out of the penguin parade in front of us, which was very good of them. And some, unfortunately, that have been hit by people who hadn't obviously been watching the road. But yeah, so keep an eye out if you're in the area of the babies on the road that aren't flying quite so free, related to about the birds being on the road. It was a very windy day as well, so it was quite cool. We were well rugged up. From the boardwalk, we then went back to and check out some views from the beach. So there was Berry Beach, was quite an ordinary beach basically. It's just a sandy bay. Still lovely views, but not spectacular. Sorry, but it wasn't for us. Then we went to the pyramid sculpture. It's like a little island just off the coast, and it's shaped like a pyramid, which is pretty cool, just a natural formation. So we had a look there. We saw a couple of little wallabies on the steep banks there hanging out away from the tourists. We could also hear cars in the background, and we were right near the Grand Prix track. So we went and parked up and had a look, and some cars were either practicing or I'm not sure who they were. Some of them had numbers on, some of them just looked like normal cars, but they were out there having a great time, so that always makes you want to get out there and have a go too. But Kelly and Martin just have the Terios, so don't think that was going to cut it for track work. So we stayed and watched them for a while. That was good. Other things that we saw, we really wanted to try and see some penguins. That's why we went out to Nobby's boardwalk. So at Nobby's beach, we could also see back across to Flinders, where we were with Mel and Busso the other day. So yeah, it was a bit of a weird feeling just looking across the bay. We were just over there the other day, so that was cool. We didn't see any penguins. We were hoping to, so we decided, Kelly and I did the penguin parade that evening. It was amazing. There was a lot of people there. In the back, there was thunder and lightning over to one side, which we could see going off, but it didn't come our way. But it was a great backdrop for the evening sky. So the beach was lit up softly. They told us, you'd hear the penguins before you saw them, and it was true. We could hear them talking to each other out in the water as they got closer. They max out at about 30 centimeters high, so they're only a tiny little penguin, but yeah, they're funny little things. Kelly and I were doing voiceovers as they were racing up the beach and coming into shore, and one got left behind, so he's like, wait for me. Anyway, all sorts of silly things, but it was fun to watch. They were very entertaining. They form a raft before they make the dash up to the beach. So they come in out of the water, talking away to each other, and then form a group, probably about, I don't know, anywhere between maybe 8 and 12, 13 of them, and then they do a mad dash up to the banks towards their burrows. So they do have timber burrows there, which slowly grow over, just so it gives them some extra cover. But there is a lot there. This particular colony has about 32,000 penguins in it, scattered on the island. I think this is just the area that they keep the tourists to, so there's a lot that, you know, aren't being disturbed, which is kind of good. But these guys are amazing. They went about their business. They went under us on the boardwalks, chatted all night to each other, cleaned each other, preened each other. But yeah, it was so good to see them. I'm really glad that we did that. It was a bit of a highlight for the week. Other things that we did on the island, I surfed a barrel. Never been surfing before. Unfortunately, it was just a fake one for the tourists, but I wish I hadn't tied my jumper around my waist, because it does look like a sumo wrestler's nappy. Or weird. Anyway, regretting that photo, but it was good fun. Other things, what else did we do? We went to the chocolate factory. So the chocolate factory has amazing artwork on it, absolutely stunning. So we got some photos of that. They've got a couple of cows there, and when you get up close to the cows, there's all like there's penguins on there. There's a map of Australia on there in the pattern on the cows. It was really cool to see what we could find in there. We went into the chocolate factory, but we weren't in there very long because the prices blew us away. Obviously, internationally tourist orientated, because I don't see any Australians paying the prices that they had in there. You know, a small sample box of chocolates, $35. Seconds chocolate bag about this big, $17. Yeah, sorry, that's just a little bit too steep. I think that's just crazy. Anyway, so it was good to look at, but we didn't buy anything from there. We figured we could go to Coles and buy a couple of blocks of chocolate for a lot less. Anyway, sad, but anyway, that's our thoughts on that. So other than that, we then, during the week, I had my 3 days work. We moved the next day from our trip around the island over to a town called Karumbara, and I think that's how you say it. Super friendly town. The RV camp there is great. We're unpowered, so $15 a night. They have a dump point there. You can pay for water and power if you need it. And it's at the footy oval rec ground. Loads of room. There wasn't many people there. Walked to town, and the people in the town super friendly. We went out for dinner one night at the Karumbara Middle Hotel, I think it's called, right in the centre of town. Beautiful meal. The staff was super friendly, super efficient, and it was a very, very busy night, but our meal didn't take long to come out. It was fresh, it was yummy, great cooks. I can't speak highly enough. I don't go out eating very often, but this meal was absolutely beautiful, I must admit. So we really enjoyed that. And then, so I had my work days that week, and then we are heading down towards Wilson's Prom in the next few days, so we'll be moving on. But it's likely, maybe because of the cost and because of the lovely friendly town and proximity to other towns that can be explored, that we'll come back here on our way back through. So fingers crossed it all goes well. But that is my day. So the weekend coming up is Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all the mums out there. Yeah, missing my boys, especially on days like Mother's Day, but that's okay. I'm sure they'll ring and say good day. So have a safe and happy week, and I'll put up some pics of what we've been up to this week. Bye now.